Okay, it's 12:31, or at least 12:31 where I am. I'm not sure where others are. So let's get started. Welcome. My name is Michael Swack. I'm the director of the Master's Program in Community Development at the Carsey School at the University of New Hampshire. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Robin Husslage, who will be helping with the webinar and watching for questions in the Q&A or chat. So please feel free as we go through to post any questions in the chat or the Q&A. Robin will be checking them. I'll be stopping from time to time to answer those questions, so feel free to join in. The Carsey School at the University of New Hampshire has 3 academic programs, and as you'll see, a number of institutes and centers as well. The 3 academic programs are the Master's in Community Development, the Master's in Public Administration, and the Master's in Public Policy. I'll be talking just about the Master's in Community Development today. This is a program designed for adult practitioners working in community development. The program is entirely online at this time and will be throughout the program and the startup of the program later this summer. The Master's in Community Economic Development operates using a cohort model. What that means is you'll generally start, in this case, late summer, with colleagues at the beginning of the academic program. Although people join in for certain electives throughout the program, the core group of people in the program start in the late summer, in our first term in August, and go through a sequence of courses, 8-week courses online, and go through the courses that are required as part of a group, as a cohort. And so you get to know people pretty well, which is a real positive of the program. And there are actually activities in each of the courses that involve working together with people in groups. And so you will get to know people well, and that bodes well for when you graduate as well. One of the things we found is that people who meet together in the program work in the program together and support each other, and also become friends and professional colleagues after the program as well. So that's why we believe that the cohort model is a good model to learn in. The program is also, as you see, community development. We talk about policy and practice. Actually, in fact, the name Masters in Community Development is short for Masters in Community Development in Policy and Practice. And it's a program that has a number of interdisciplinary courses that focus on key practice skills like management, finance, public policy, and specifically focus on a set of project design, development, and evaluation skills, which again, you go through as a sequence of courses. And I'll get to that in just a minute. The curriculum has a series of 5 core courses. You can see them listed there. And these are primarily skill-based courses. These are courses in organizational management, financial management, economic analysis, in which you'll also use statistical tools, and policy analysis. The integrative approaches is the introductory course, which is somewhat of a theory course, a course that I co-teach. Then there's a sequence of 4 courses that are what we call experiential learning courses. That's where you do a project in your own community. And there's a sequence of 4 courses that accompany that project. So there's the introduction to the project, project design and planning, implementation, and project evaluation. And then there's a sequence, not a sequence, a range of elective courses that you can choose from throughout your various terms in the program. And this is a listing you see on the screen of just some of those elective courses that are available. The Capstone project, the 4-course sequence, is an experiential learning, and you see the 4 courses on the project at the bottom that you take over a period of 4 sequential terms. The project is something that you design in your own community typically, although there's a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do. Many students ask, or prospective students ask, do I need to know what my project is when I come into the program? And the answer is no. And in fact, most of the students take that first term in the program when they take the introduction to project to actually figure out what they want to do as a project. For some people, they'll do a project through their workplace. This is a benefit to the workplace as well. Also allows you to carry out work in that workplace. For others, you may choose to do a project in your community that's not related to your workplace at all. It may be that you already have an idea of what your project would be, and so you come in and refine that in the first term in developing the project, and then go through a sequence where you actually do the project design, develop a monitoring system, and project evaluation. Now, we know that people don't design projects that easily start and end precisely with their term in the program, but you'll carry out the parts of the project that you can, and you'll be outlining and designing parts that you won't finish. What do people do? All sorts of things. When we look at different kinds of projects, first of all, you'll develop a series of skills that all projects require, but people do projects in housing, designing training, on small business development and training, on health-related projects, a whole range of projects that are possible. And it's really driven by what your interests are. And again, during that first term in the program, if you're not sure, we'll work with you and through a set of questions to help you think through what the best project is for you and based on what your interests are. Again, you start with the project implementation and monitoring. We use a logic model. Many of you are familiar with that, where you develop a set of activities, inputs, activities, outputs, and ultimately outcomes. That is, what are you trying to achieve? How will people's lives be better? And here you see what some of the outcomes might be in a particular project. Now, one of the issues I want to address that often comes up is how do the courses work themselves online? Well, the courses have both a synchronous element. Typically once every week or 2 weeks, you'll meet for 60 to 90 minutes in each class. So you'll typically take 2 classes at any given time, no more than that, maybe as little as 1. You'll see in a minute that you can have a lot of flexibility in designing how quickly you go through the schedule. But you will have the opportunity to take courses that have asynchronous elements, that is reading, work, exercises, writing that you'll do offline, and some synchronous elements where you'll meet together with people in your class, like I said, on every week for 60 to 90 minutes, in some instances every 2 weeks, up to the instructor, but you'll be informed in advance. And the courses therefore have both a synchronous and asynchronous component. Let me stop here for a minute, Robin. I think I see there are some questions in the chat box.
Yes, there's one question. If the university starts the program in the green mode, this relates to COVID, I'm assuming, will the program resume in-person elements?
Yeah, we haven't determined at this point. Some of you online know that the program initially, up until last year, started with a 2-week in-person session where people got to know each other and where we also began some of the coursework, some of the preliminary coursework. And then those courses were hybrid. They would go online after the 2 weeks. At this point, we haven't made a determination about the future beyond this summer. For this summer, the plan is that we would start the program fully online. And so if you're planning to register for the course this summer, you can plan for a fully online program. What we might do at the end, and we haven't determined, is at the end of the program, the 14 months or so, we might have a get-together on campus, but that would be optional at this point. It would be a time when you would present your projects, which everybody does at the end of their term in the program, of the project sequence. So we have no plans at this time to resume face-to-face meetings for the 2 weeks on campus. It's something we may consider in future years, but not this coming year.
Thank you, Michael. Another question is, can we choose to take more than 2 courses per semester?
Yeah, you can, and I'll go through that in a minute. But yes, the program is designed for you to go as slowly or as quickly as you want. So if you wanted to take 3 courses in any given term, you could. I mean, we offer electives every term. We never offer more than 2 required courses in any given term, but you can move pretty quickly through the program if you want to take your electives early on. Alternatively, if you want to go slowly because you have lots of work responsibilities and family responsibilities and want to start the program, you can take as little as 1 course at any given time. Take 1 course every term. We have 5 terms in any given year. We have two fall terms, 2 spring terms, and a summer term. And we offer both required and elective courses in all of those terms. So as you see here, it's a 36 credit program. There are 9 required core and experiential courses, which I mentioned on the previous slide, and 3 electives. You can take more than 3 electives if you choose, but the 36 credits required for the degree are 9 required courses and at least 3 elective courses. And within that 9 core, the experiential courses, 4 of those 9 courses are the capstone project.
Michael, we do have some more questions that this graphic would help with.
Okay.
Someone has said they're interested in pursuing a degree part-time. How does the sequential course offering work for someone who may take only 1 course per e-term? Must I take 1 course each e-term? And then the final question they have is, can I take a course in the program before applying to the program?
So let's look at each of those questions. The only courses that are sequential is that you have to take the project, you'll see on the top there, the project courses, intro to project. You see project series on the grid there. Intro to community development projects, project design and planning, project implementation monitoring, and project evaluation. Those 4 courses have to be taken in sequence. That is, they build on one another. None of the other courses are prerequisites for others, so that means you can take them in any order that you want. Typically, if you're applying to this is a degree program, so you could start with as little as 1 course. When you start, again, we're recommending people start in what we call the fall term, which begins on August 16th. And again, if you wanted to start with the project course, you could. You could also start with the integrative approaches and take some of the other required courses and come back and do the project course your second year. So if you were to take 1 course at a time, you can see you probably take the sequence. Again, I'm using sequence when I don't mean it. Sequence is only for the project courses, but you could take the courses listed on that top line as part of your first year, and the project sequence in your second year, or vice versa if you chose. We've had people do it each way. And then you'll see a range of electives listed. There are more than that are listed there, but that gives you a sampling of the kinds of courses you might take. So, other questions, Robin?
Well, maybe I missed it. Do you answer whether you can take a break, like take a term off?
Oh, I see.
For example?
Yeah. Yes, you can, and we certainly have had students who have done that. You can take a break and come back when you choose. Typically, what we'll ask is you inform us, obviously, if you're taking a break, and then we'll keep in touch with you each term to find out if you plan to come back that term. So people, when they take a break, will typically take a break of a term, but we've seen people take a break long. People have taken a break up to a year. So again, the idea is to try and keep it flexible for you in terms of your ability to get through the program at a pace that makes sense for you.
Another question, Michael, is the introduction to project course only offered in e-term 1, which is the fall, the first term in fall?
That's right. It is for right now. There may be instances where we could change that depending on the demand for it. But again, that's why we encourage people to start in that what we call fall e-term 1, which really starts about a month before fall, but that's what we're calling it. And we encourage that so that they can begin the sequence and the introduction to projects.
Great. I have one more question. What is the cap of the number of classes you can take before applying to the program?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a cap. Robin, do you know the answer to that question?
There is a cap. A max of 4 courses can be taken before you have to then, be matriculating in a program. Yes.
Good. I'm glad you answered that question. I thought the answer was 3. So that's why it's good to operate as a team. Any other questions?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Good. So let's get into the application requirements. Your application can be done entirely online. The deadline for the August term, you'll see there is July 15th, although we encourage people to get their application in earlier if possible. If you wanted to start in the spring term, that's what we're calling the January term that you saw back here. In January, or the spring 2022, January 18th, the deadline is December 15th. In order to apply, you see the requirements there of the bachelor's degree, transcript, letters, personal statement, and resume, along with an application fee. Note we do not require the GRE. The TOEFL test is required for international students if they did not study in English for their bachelor's degree. Talk a little bit about costs and affordability. You see the fees up there. That's the cost for the entire program. Again, the way it's calculated is you pay a per credit cost, essentially a per course cost over the entire time in the program. So you essentially pay as you go. If you take 1 course a term, you pay for 1 course. If you take 2 courses, you pay for 2 courses. And this is what the cost would be for taking the entire 12 courses required to graduate. In addition, we do offer different forms of financial aid. We offer some grant funding. You have to apply for financial aid, but when you apply for financial aid, we'll automatically consider you for any grant funding. The grant funding from the program tends to be between $3,000 and $8,000, depending on need. We also have partners who provide scholarship resources which we match, and we can give you more details about those if you have questions. And we also can help you access student loans and look at what would be the most affordable and the most cost-effective in terms of the lowest interest student loans, which would be available to you. Our financial aid office helps with those sorts of questions.
Michael, there is another question. Approximately how many people are accepted into each cohort? And then the follow-on question is, what is the average number of students in the required courses?
Yeah, the answer is about the same, since the people in the cohort tend to take the required courses at any given time. And the cohorts tend to be around 20, sometimes fewer by a couple, sometimes a few more, but the cohorts are intentionally kept small, and cohort size is rarely larger than 20.
Another question, if you have time, Michael, is can
Yeah.
I take the course without a bachelor's if I have enough lived/work experience? And how does that work?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about how that works, although I would encourage you to send either me or Robin an email afterwards. I'll have our email address posted so we can go in more detail. The fact is we do have a program where we can waive the bachelor's degree. It's pretty exceptional that it's done. We're guided by the UNH policies and practices on that. And so it's a more detailed application process in terms of the types of experience you would have to show, the type of references that you would need to get, So it is possible, and rather go into it in great detail here, it'd be better for us to have a conversation with you one-on-one to go into the specifics. So the answer is yes, it is possible, but it's unusual. On the other hand, we had one this past year, so it's not impossible either.
Great. There's
People
another
who have
question.
substantial amount, I'm sorry, Robin. Generally, people with substantial amount of work experience where going back to get a bachelor's degree simply doesn't make any sense, isn't possible.
Great. Thank you, Michael. One more question is, how many applications might you be anticipating for the July 15th deadline to start this fall?
Yeah, that's really hard to say, and simply because it's hard to predict with COVID. Last year we had more applications than we were expecting and had a slightly larger cohort than we've had in the past. We have applications coming in. One of the hard things to know is that although we encourage people to get their applications in sooner, typically we get most applications at the deadline or close to the deadline. So hard to predict where that will go. But we, you know, if the cohort were get to a point where it would be much larger than what we typically have, we would probably divide it in two.
Great. Thank you, Michael. I think that's all for now.
Okay. And again, just to give you a sense, one of the real, I think, benefits of the program is the incredible diversity of the student body. When I talk about diversity from different places, countries, backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, racial, you name it, age, we have people in their mid-20s. We also have people in their 50s. So it's an incredibly diverse and rich group of people. And I think really one of the strongest parts of the program is how powerful the cohort experience is, and working with people with a variety of experiences, one's different from yours, and the ability to learn from them as well. Here are a couple recent graduates and the work they do. Andronika, who just graduated this past year. She's the director of Housing New Orleans, Housing NOLA. And again, people working in everything from, as you can see at the bottom, the types of jobs they have. Again, everything from project management to nonprofit leaders to research-related types of jobs, whole range. Here's the information. I had mentioned our emails if you want to contact any of us individually. Some of you have already been in touch with Sanjeev, who handles our admissions, but feel free to write to either me or to Robin if you have questions, general questions about the program or specific questions about, for example, the waiver, as someone just asked. Robin, any last questions people have?
There aren't any more that have popped up, but maybe we should just give it a few seconds because people might still be digesting what they've learned and might have some additional questions.
Great.
I'm happy to speak with any students who want to reach out after the fact. We can set up a time to talk on Zoom. I'm a graduate of the program, so I can also share my experience in the program from a student perspective, just so you know.
Thanks for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. And like Robin said, feel free to follow up if you have any questions. Thanks very much, and hope to see you in the fall. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.